God will use all evil to do good, and evil will use all good to do more evil. And so all things are perfectly balanced. What I've come to find, becoming more and more aware, is that we don't even have to trick ourselves or manipulate ourselves into believing something is positive when it is not. There just simply is positive in everything, no matter how negative an experience is. God uses these difficult experiences to shape us into the greatest of characters, like a diamond that is formed under pressure. And sometimes we might think that a situation is so bad that nothing positive could ever arise from it. But we have no idea the bigger picture of everything. We have no idea what happens after death. We have no idea how things continue on in this divine play of everything. You can have an absolute tragic life in the external world, but within you can have had the greatest success. What is but a moment of suffering in an eternity of joy? So sometimes we can get so caught up in our identity with this human form and the tragedies of life, and we say, this is unacceptable. And often things are unacceptable. And that is why we work to change things. But at the same time, everything is in divine order. Everything is exactly the way it should be, and perfect the way it is. Even our desire to change things is perfect. What is true never dies. And so we can get so focused on the loss of a loved one, the loss of a body, and we forget to rejoice for the soul, because the soul is finally free from this bondage, free from suffering. That is the bigger picture that we often do not see. And maybe we weren't designed to see it. But what happens when you begin focusing on what is good, on how every situation that you experience is exactly designed for you, for your highest character development? The moment you begin orienting your attention toward that is the moment you begin seeing all the lessons that life is trying to teach you, all the benefits of every difficult situation, all the silver linings, all the positive in the negative. And so you no longer have to trick yourself into believing something is good when it's not, because you've created a machine that's automatically focused toward the bigger picture. How can I make this situation useful for me? Or simply, what is God trying to teach me? And there is always something to be learned. But when we get caught in our own story, in our own suffering, that is when we become blinded. And so it is not so much about good or evil. It is about what you choose to focus on. There is always a balance of evil in the world and in the universe. There is always a balance of good, light and darkness. What will you choose to give your energy to? It is the quality of our attention, what we focus on and what we give our energy to, that determines the quality of our life. So if you're giving your attention to negativity, you can make a hell out of heaven, but you also have the power to make a heaven out of hell. As human beings, we cannot deny the tragedies of life, but rather to rise up in spite of them, to live our life in the face of death. That is what gives life meaning. If there was no threat of death and all of the tragedy, then there would be no story for us to live. The devil also uses good to do more evil for those who get stuck in focusing on negativity. I think the greatest example is religion, the church. Think about the extremist Muslims who kill and slaughter in the name of their own religious beliefs. in the name of God? How many people do you think have used the Bible in order to influence and manipulate other people for power and control? Anywhere there is good, there will also be evil. Even the words that I speak, undoubtedly over time, somebody is going to get rubbed the wrong way. Something that I might say might have a negative effect on another person. And so am I responsible for this? Or is this just the natural order of everything? That is a tricky question. Because to what degree are we responsible for every word that we speak? Half? All of it? None of it? Some combination of everything? I think to the degree in which you speak from your inner truth, you become less and less responsible. Because it really is not you talking, but it is life speaking through you. But when we are so caught up in our minds, then we become more and more responsible. Because the mind is where we get a sense of free will, of individual autonomy. But you see, I cannot take concern of whether or not my message will be used for good or evil. Because in that alone gets me in my head about it and influences the words that I speak. Oh, should I not say this thing? Or should I try and say this to get a certain message across? Now I'm influencing everything and creating karma. The words that I speak now are tinged with a certain color, with a certain pattern. They become less pure. The more the mind has influence, the less pure the words become. They may sound nice, but so too, even if you speak from the truth, people who are in unconsciousness will get damaged, depending on how attached they are. Because when you're deep, stuck in the darkness, when you have unconscious attachments and they get ripped away from you, that is painful. That creates harm and destruction for the little ego. And so if you choose to live with your light shining at its brightest, you are going to negatively affect people who are in darkness, and they might not like you. It doesn't matter what I say. Somebody's going to not like it, and some people will like it. So you have to live for yourself with good intentions and a good heart. Or at the very least, from your own truth. This is what it means to rise above good and evil, and to see the wholeness of all things, and to realize that, well, it is all God, and that we don't necessarily need to separate God and the devil. I like to say, there are no such things as demons, only angels in disguise, because it is all about what you focus on. You can focus on demons, oh, scary. Or you can see how those demons are there, put by God to help you on your journey. As an act of resistance, as a warrior, you need an enemy. As a hero, you need a dragon. In life, you need death, because these two things justify each other's existence. Marilyn Manson once said, without the threat of death, there would be no reason to live at all. This contrast is what gives life meaning. And so once we can accept the wholeness, the balance of all things, we can more easily accept the moment as it is, accept life as it is.